Hello, my name is Riley Rosette, and welcome to my Capstone PowerPoint presentation. The title of my project is Rescuing an Eradicated Subject, How One Elementary School is Using California State Funding and Resources for Visual Art. Let's get started. As a child growing up, the arts played a big role in my life. Music and visual art kept me focused in school. By the time I graduated high school, I wasn't planning to continue my education until I took a mural class at my local community college. This led me to take other classes, and I eventually got my degree in studio art and pursued teaching. The purpose of this research and study was to determine if an elementary school in California was getting the funding and resources needed from California funded arts organizations. The study was also meant to determine if the school had incorporated visual and performing arts Common Core standards into their curriculum. The study initially covered one art discipline, visual art, but results provided by the participants revealed how the schools were covering other art disciplines as well. The study also sought to better understand if the recent increase in funding under Governor Gavin Newsom made a difference at the school. In writing the literature review, it was found that the arts are crucial to human development and need to be fought for. They enliven and enrich the school environment and help at-risk and hard-to-reach children. They also help develop essential skills such as critical thinking, risk-taking, problem-solving, and creativity. Policy and funding often shape how schools include time for the arts. Since the No Child Left Behind Act, curricular contraction and lack of funding contributed to many schools around the country to limit the time spent on the arts. Although this had been the case, there has been a push to include art in subjects such as science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, also known as STEM subjects. Instead of STEM, some programs include the arts and call their program Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Mathematics, also known as STEAM. In some areas around the country where test scores are often low and poverty is high, art had been excluded almost entirely from school curricula, making it an eradicated subject. When art was introduced into the curriculum in a small rural school district in Texas, there was a positive impact on students' test scores, especially in schools where there were a large number of students from low socioeconomic families. California is one state in particular that has been striving to include more of the arts in public school curriculum. Some of the ways in which this is being accomplished is through funding and the creation of Common Core standards. California's state standards requires K-12 public schools to cover a broad range of concepts, artistic mediums, and vocabulary term fluency, and artistic disciplines such as visual art, music, dance, theater, and media arts. By including Common Core standards in the arts, it helps create benchmarks that schools meet. Although this is true, the state is not keeping tabs on whether or not standards are being used, or even met. Unfortunately, according to the National Assessment of Educational Progress, which is one of the ways our education is assessed in the United States, Western states such as California are behind others in terms of our education. In order to answer the primary question and some of the secondary research questions, an elementary school located in Gilroy, California was chosen. This public school was selected because of its involvement and continued participation in an after-school mural program called Art for Change, which I was lucky enough to be involved in college. Questionnaires were emailed to a principal and a teacher at the school. This method was chosen because it was a straightforward way to get answers to my research questions. Overall, the main goal was to see if the school had been receiving adequate funding and resources needed to transition their curriculum to include the visual and performing arts Common Core standards, how this integration was occurring, and if the interviewed teacher had the skills and resources needed to integrate visual art. By administering 2 questionnaires with unique questions, it was better understood how the chosen school was getting the resources and funding needed to provide students with an education in visual art. It helped answer my primary question, which was, are elementary schools in California getting the resources they need to integrate visual art into their curriculum? In terms of resources and funding, the teacher interviewed said that art supplies are limited. She explained that each teacher at the school gets a small amount of money every year for general supplies, but once those funds are used, she purchases supplies with her own money. The principal said that there was no new funding for the arts, and he was not sure if any grant money had been applied for in the school district. Also, the Parent-Teacher Association at the school funds the Art for Change mural program. This reveals that state funding is not helping the school in this area either. Other than these answers given, there was no new information provided on how CCSESA, Create California, or the California Arts Council are funding schools other than through grants. This questionnaire also helped answer one of my secondary questions, which was, are schools in California incorporating visual art into curricula to help satisfy the visual and performing arts Common Core standards? The principal did not specify if they were using the integrated art lessons or following the VAPA Common Core standards. The teacher interviewed said that they had not formally discussed incorporating these standards either, although she said that the principal actively seeks to incorporate visual and performing arts at the school. For example, the principal brought in a dance company called TK5 that taught every student dances such as the foxtrot, waltz, hip hop dance, and more. These were year-round dance classes that occurred 2 times a week for 45 minutes. Along with dancing, the 4th and 5th grade students take a field trip to a live dance and music performance twice a year. The teacher also mentioned that a STEAM lab is being built at the school. Another question I was able to answer was, do elementary school teachers have the skills needed to teach visual art? The teacher interviewed did not have any previous experience in art, and her teacher preparation program did not prepare her to integrate art. She also did not receive any professional development through the school to integrate visual art into lesson plans either, although she has elected to take 1-hour sessions at STEAM conferences. Along with the questionnaire, there was hopes to also be a part of the interviewed teacher's classroom for 20 hours. Because of COVID-19, schools had been canceled until the end of the school year. This service opportunity would have allowed for more one-on-one time with the teacher to better understand her teaching methods. Instead of a questionnaire, an in-person interview could have been conducted. This might have allowed more data to be collected, especially from the principal of the school. This was also a small sample size. These results do not speak to every California public school. It also does not give an accurate view of all elementary school teachers or their experience. After reading journal articles, searching the internet, and conducting qualitative research at an elementary school, the questions that were sought after were answered adequately. This research is important because students need an education that includes the arts. The results gathered from the school indicate that the administration, teachers, and parents take it upon themselves to provide students with an education in the arts. They had not received any new funding from the state, nor had they been incorporating the visual and performing arts Common Core standards into curriculum. Overall, more research needs to be done on how many schools are using the visual and performing arts Common Core standards, and if they are getting the resources they need to integrate the arts into their curriculum. This is because the arts are needed in schools and are crucial to human development. Thank you for listening, and be sure to read my full capstone paper.